Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Doomlings unboxing. This is for Imaginary Ends. So this is a brand new variety expansion, which actually has 5 extra expansions in it. So I'm not sure why exactly they decided to go back to this route, like their previous expansions were. They had a bunch of little mini expansions they eventually shoved into one box. As opposed to the Overlush, where they get booster packs. If there's just too much backlash of having to keep buying booster packs and getting things, or just if this model made more sense for this, and then maybe they're gonna go back and forth between, like smaller, unique little expansions in here, with like extra new abilities, and then maybe like bigger expansions, booster packs. Not for sure. We'll have to find out. But yeah, this has all the same cards in it, just so I'm just mentioning that. So if you were a backer of Overlush, or you know what that was, is they released, they had the original big box, which is, you know, like this big box, which had all the same cards in it, and then they released a bunch of small expansions. They eventually you could purchase as like a big box all together. Either way, single packs together, the same thing. Then they did Overlush, which actually will collector box, which they had, they did as booster packs, which then you had to get them unless you did the Kickstarter and bought the full collection. Now this one goes back to having all the same things. If you buy this, every set will have the exact same cards in it, and then we'll have all the cards. The one caveat or exception to this is they're releasing holofoil packs later on. I don't know how many of the cards, if every single card will have a holofoil version or not. They haven't really given enough. That hasn't appeared in their store yet, so they haven't given enough information. It does say there will be alt arts, which some of the other foils have had, and it mentions Easter eggs. So I don't know if that's just like some of the different artwork that mentions other cards, or if it's brand new cards that aren't available. Again, they don't have enough detail for me to say that. But if you don't care about that stuff, this is definitely a good thing to go. So, to state here, it says the Doomlings base game is required to play. So you do need that because you're going to need, some of these expansions are like 20-some cards. 20-some cards. So they're literally expansions. They're not enough to play the game by itself. And someone will ask, well, could I just buy this box that has, you know, a ton of cards in it? Could I just buy this by itself, shuffle everything together, and just play it? No. Technically, yeah, you probably could. Yes and no. It might have enough physical cards to be able to maybe hold a game, but it's going to be. But lots of these cards have special effects that need base game cards to work well or work with, because they play off of them. Just the special abilities on them. I feel like if you're just using those cards alone, like, you wouldn't get as good of effects for them because they're meant to play off of stuff from the base games. And now, granted, you could mix this with a bunch of the Overlush cards instead of the base game. You might be fine there. The second other big reason was because you need the age cards. So, like, we have all the Doomling age cards. And beginning is you need the beginning of life cards, basic age cards, and you need catastrophe cards, which none of them come included in this deck. So again, you wouldn't be able to use that for that reason. So then the last thing would be, how do you actually, before I keep jumping this, is how do you mix these in? This is the only thing where big thing I feel like the Doomlings game group, community, who made this, I don't know if they actually list, if they're just the Doomlings, or if they actually list like a company name. Just Doomlings. You don't really list a actual name on there, I guess. But yeah, they don't do a great description of ever saying how to mix expansion into the set. So basically, it's more or less if you take one of these 5 expansions or multiple, or if you again combine with any of the original 5 expansions, promo cards, Overlush expansion. You just have to take them and shuffle them in. They all have set icons on them, so you can pull in things like that, so you can pull stuff in and out easy. You can, if there's a particular 1 or 2 cards you really don't like, take them out. You don't have to play the full expansion if you don't want. Although removing, like, if there's, you know, 3 green, 3 blue, 3 purple, 3, you know, red, so on and so forth, and you remove 3 of the green, but you don't remove any other colors, it's going to unbalance the colors, but that's your choice to do. But yeah, so basically just pick up one of these and shuffle them in. Alright, so what is actually in this? It says, dream up new ways to win the end of the world with imaginary ends. The variety expansions, 5 new sets in the Doomling games. Deeplings, life is uncertain, and so is your power. Hide your path to victory by suppressing your new traits. Moonlings, life is nonsensical. From the moons to the end eras, these oddballs grow stronger as your gene pool gets weaker. Glitterings, life is unpredictable. Join the party and embrace the chaos of these unruly, unusual friends. Fuselings, Deeplings, Moonlings, and Glitterings combine into a gumbo of strange behavior. So the first 3 have brand new mechanics or concepts they kind of work with. Fuseling combines all 3 of them together into a little thing. So you could, if you like, hey, I really like these, but you don't want to have a full set, you could have, or you want all the abilities, you could add all 3 big sets together, or just do Fuseling and have a little bit of each. And then the last is kind of like a big giant expansion. So I showed the other one how small that was. This one has a bunch of cards. This is actually the thickest one. I think there's, 51 cards in this one. Where the other ones are like 21, or like 20 or so each. So magical merchants. Things aren't always as they seem. Do you know you can go to these spectacular trinkets you are tricked into buying? The clock is ticking, even from the deep reaches in season space, the moons of end eras, and the land of make-believe. There's no pretending the world isn't ending. Cool. So that is the basis of it. So we're going to kind of hop in and look at some of these. So we do have, I drop my camera back down a little bit. Alright, this universe full of unusual and unbelievable imaginary ends is an exploration into the more fantastical expressions of life. This box contains 5 collections. We hope you like them, make the world more enjoyable. This is their little blah blah. Go to their Doomling.com for sneak previews, giveaways, all that stuff. And that. So I did get a foil card. So I'm just going to show that off really quick. I'm not going to get into too much what it does. So it is just listed. So it adds on onto the traits. This is 1 of 21 for the moon expansion specifically. Does add S for scarcity, and it has the little scarcity symbol. So these are familiar from the Overlush expansions. They had the rarities. All the rest of the cards won't have that. So if I look at the regular version of this card, it's just going to say 1 of 21. It's not going to have that S rarity. It's not going to have the star on there to show it's a foil. It's not going to have the rarity symbol. Those are only for the foil versions. And it's just one random foil in there. Again, I don't know how many cards are foiled, if every single card's going to have one or not. But let's go ahead and hop into these. So we're going to jump into Deeplings expansion. So it's going to have a little symbol of a little squid on there. And this is, again, so you can quickly pull these guys out. One is so you can pull them out deck quickly if you like. The other reason for having these icons on there, so they're all going to have their icons up in this corner, is so that way when you know a card with this icon is going to be using these new abilities. So that way it's something to kind of keep an eye out for. So there are 16 traits, 2 dominance, 2 age cards, and 1 catastrophe. Now I did mention, I said, oh, there's no catastrophes. There's not some basic ages in here. There's a couple of ages for their cards, and there are some catastrophes. So yes, I did say that there's not going to be enough. But I don't think you can just shove these in and play at the base game. Now, if you want to, go ahead. It's your game. There's a total of, I think, 127 cards versus I think the base game had try to see if it lists on the box here how many the base game. 167 cards. So it's not quite as many, but again, some of them aren't all the same. But the thing, if you just bought this and just played these the same, you're gonna have all these extra effects constantly versus spread out. And it might make them not as enjoyable. Again, that's entirely up to you. Alright, so Deeplings introduce the suppress mechanic. The mysterious deeplings lurk in the fathomless darkness. The oldest and strongest fear of the unknown, and the deeplings are very, very scary. So the suppressed is gonna have this little circle with a line going down over an S, kind of show it goes under something. Suppressed effects help you grow your power with smaller trait piles. Suppressed cards hide face down under your trait pile. They're worth +1 points but do not count as traits. So it says be familiar with the base game before you jump into play. So again, there's no rules for how the base game is played in here. Why suppress? Deep ones help you grow in power and smaller traits. They can turn unwanted cards into nothing but points. Cards with the suppress effect can be identified with this symbol. Scoring. Suppressed cards are not traits. They can have no face value. Do not count towards drop of life effects. They're worth 1 point each. How to suppress. Place a suppressed card face down under any trait in your trait pile, excluding under dominance. Any number of cards may be suppressed under a single trait. So basically what it does is you play them face down, and they're worth 1 point towards that trait, but they do nothing else. They can't be targeted for being blue or red, or for being this thing or that thing, or having this number on there. Nothing else matters on them. Like actions, if you cannot complete a suppress effect, you may still play a trait. However, you must complete the suppress effect if able. They're not actions. Dominance. Cannot suppress cards under dominance, and you cannot suppress dominant cards from your trait pile. You can suppress dominant cards from your hand. So once they're you can't suppress things under dominance because you're trying to help the weak smaller cards. And once they're out, you can't do anything, but you can do them from your hand, because once it goes face down, no one's going to know if it was a dominant or not, is the idea. Swap, steal, and discard. Effects that cannot interact with suppressed cards. If a trait leaves your trait pile, all suppressed cards under that trait are placed at the bottom of the trait deck. Yeah, there's always that effect there too. So, alright, let's jump into these. We have our dominance here. We have ethereal. In blue, so this is a 1 of 21 in deep, and imaginary ends is the name of the actual set. Until world's end, if you hold 6 or fewer cards at the end of your turn, you may suppress 1 from your hand instead of stabilizing. If this effect empties your hand, draw 2 cards. This is kind of neat. So, like, as long as when you have this out, as long as you have 6 or fewer cards, you can just get rid of 1 without having to discard. We have Stygian. I'll get the lights. Ooh, it's a horrible angler type fish. At world's end, choose a color. Suppress all traits of that color in your trait pile. -2 for each color in your trait pile. Interesting. So he's worth a lot, but you just gotta get rid of some of those. Activism. Onward to the beginning. Suppress all your +- gene pool traits in your trait pile. Set your gene pool to 5. Ooh, so that's kind of neat. It's a way to, like, get bonus points while resetting your gene pool. Cryptic. Etsule sue a ecrit se odite. Pig Latin. Yes. Interesting, because some cards have special illustrator on. I just noticed that. Interesting. Says -4 if you have 12 or more traits in your pile. Yeah, so this one does not have a suppress icon, but that's fine. Again, not every card has to have one. So this one kind of works against having a bunch of traits in it. Lure. I'm so helpless. I hope nothing big and nutritious tries to get me. Oh, look at that. He's got a big guy there behind him. Choose your opponent. Your opponent on your right chooses a color. Suppress all colors of the chosen card from your hand. Chematro. Ooh, a tasty sulfuric snack. To play, you must suppress 1 trait in your trait pile. Play another trait. Cool. Still, consider For a moment, nothing. Nice. So yeah, some of these are just basic ones that do extra stuff, which is always good. Whiptail, go ahead, pull on it, see what happens. Suppress one trait in your trait pile. Spineless, I don't have a backbone. Also, I'm really scared. Suppress all face value, one card traits in your trait pile. -1 for each base value trait in your trait pile. So what it is, suppress all traits with a face value of one trait in your trait pile, and then -1 for each base value one trait within your traits pile. So another thing you get to suppress besides getting this extra one bonus point for each one is if maybe you have something that like gets you a penalty for having a bunch of green cards or a bunch of other cards, right? You can shut them all off essentially. Telescopic eyes. My pupils can learn a lot from my pupils. Ooh, good wordplay. +2 for each opponent with more traits in their trait piles than yours. Translucent, you see right through me. Suppress one card in your hand. Baffling, you look confused. This amuses me. Suppress one trait card in your trait pile, then move Baffling to an opponent's trait pile. Interesting. Gives them a -2. Enigma, you don't want an answer to every question. +10 if you have 10 or fewer traits in your trait pile. Hidden. Even if you can't see me, I'm right here for you. Ooh, that's creepy. Steal one trait from your opponent's trait pile, then suppress it. Monstrosity. It's what's on the inside that counts. I'm a monster there too. Oh, that's nice. Decaying ooze. Here today, goo tomorrow. Undulating, woe with the flow. At World Giant, suppress one trait in your trait pile. Again, you can suppress like these minuses. Someone gives you a minus, suppress it, right? Now you get 1 point instead of the negatives. So it's kind of a cool interaction there too. Untold, keeper of secrets, but you didn't hear that from me. Suppress up to 2 traits in your trait pile, +1 for each suppressed card under Untold. Alright, then we have a couple of ages here. These will be our ages. Age of Solitude, suppress one card from your hand. Now, I do wish this had that icon on it. It really should, somewhere. In fading away, after playing a trait and resolving its effects, suppress it, excluding dominance. And then the last one is still listed as ages, but it's our catastrophe. Abyss stares back. -1 to the gene pool. Suppress all cards in your hand. Stabilize. Arrow Giant, -5 if you have 12 or more traits in your trait pile. Yeah, so some of these cards do get penalties for having too many things suppressed, which is kind of an interesting idea as well. Alright, let's jump into the next set. We have the Moonlings, which have this little moon icon on them. 16 traits, 2 dominance, 2 ages, and 1 catastrophe. So the same number of cards. Life doesn't always make sense. The Doomling Moonlings are aliens, chitter no anger, strange tongue. What looks like nonsense to us, no certainly makes most sense to them, mostly. Moonlings are oddballs. They give a lot away and really shine with the little gene pools. Just make sure to familiar with these classic games before shuffling. So just as a reminder, your gene pool is how many cards when you have to suppress at the end of an age, how many cards you're allowed to have in your hand. You start with 5, so you get at the end of your game, at the end of the age, you get 5 or around or whatever. You get 5 cards in your hand, either draw up or discard down to. These guys gain bigger bonuses when you have lower cards in your hand. During your turn, you could have 10 cards, but if you have 2 gene pool at the end of the round, you have to discard down to 2. So you're going to give you some extra bonuses for that. So we have Pop Belly. Beware the mighty belly of the popple. So 1 of 21 and Moon. Your gene pool is 1. This cannot be modified. Draw 2 cards at the start of each of your turn. So it puts you way down there, but it gets you some extra stuff. Our other dominant is Gibwib, Swibgib. +5 to all players with a gene pool of 2 or lower. So kind of helpful to everybody, possibly. Fluffle Nuffs, enough to go around. Return one trait from your trait pile to your hand, then give one card to an opponent. Fluffle Pop, Flimple Limple Puffle Flop, just a -2. Now, I can't say if I'm ever pronouncing any of these right, because they seem like they're made up words. But Gerbingriz, Guriz, Lurtle, Girder Alert. Giving an opponent 2 cards from your hand. Interesting. So it's kind of like, especially if your gene pool is low, giving away cards isn't a bad thing. Herflform. Herflformy. Herm free. -2 to your game pool. Draw 2 cards. Do not stabilize. Frumple Pumple. When the Frumples get Pumpled, the Pumples get Frumpling. +5 if you hold 3 or fewer cards. If your game pool is low, that'll be happening. Muffle Flops. The full name is a Mumful. -1 in gene pool, +1 for each Moonling trait in your pile. I love that. They have something that actually interacts with the group type, which is really cool. Umbleboos. Attached to an Umble card until the ripe age of Wum. -2 the gene pool. You may play Umbleboos at any time into a trait pool with a gene pool of 6 or higher. Globlotters. Until you have spread your Globlotters, you have no idea how far you can fly. You can't fly. To play, you must give your opponent 2 random cards from your hand. Thwomplers. They're like arms, but yeah, no, they're just arms. Subtract the lowest gene pool from your final score. Grobble Bobble. Make no mistake, a bobble that grobbles can grobble with bobbles, but grobbling bobbles won't bobble a grobble. Wait, maybe we have that backwards. Grobble Bobble cannot be discarded from your hand. Interesting. Nurples. It's Nurpling time. That's scary. I like it though. Turk and Dirk. Your Dirt Turking. If your gene pool is 3 or lower, steal 1 trait from an opponent's trait pile. I wonder if some of these have, like, if they wrote down, like, hey, this is what this actually means, and then they, like, changed it. That'd be kind of a neat little idea for, like, the foil cards, right? It'd give them, like the actual translations for what they're supposed to be saying. We have Wumple. If you hold 3 or fewer cards after you play Wumple, draw 1, and then play another trait. Humdumpling. Humdumpling. Give an opponent 1 card from your hand, then play another trait. Roblotters. Roggle, Bobble, Globble, Blob. I repeat it a bunch of times. Earth. He just says Earth, -3 to your gene pool. You may discard Earth from your trait pile at the start of your turn to draw 3 cards. Cool. Then we have 2 more ages here. A Quiet Moment. Discard 3 cards from your hand. If you start your turn with an empty hand, draw 4. And then Moonlight. If your gene pool is 4 or higher, discard 1. If your gene pool is 3 or lower, draw 2. And then we have a Catastrophe. We have Moon Apocalypse. -2 to your gene pool. This catastrophe cannot reduce your gene pool lower than 4. Aerogenic, -5 if your gene pool is 4 or higher. Cool. So that's neat about these ones. So like the other one added the new effect of the suppress. These ones just add stuff that play around your gene pool so they can maybe be or discarding cards and getting rid of excess cards and stuff. So they can easily be mixed in a little bit more. But the thing is, you can even just take these catastrophes and these ages and just add those in and maybe not have all these other cards. Again, it's entirely up to you on how you want to mix and match those. Alright, let's look at our 3rd expansion, the Glitterings. So same thing, 21 cards. We're going to have 16 traits, 2 dominance, 2 ages, and 1 catastrophe. Like the catastrophes threatening their blissful, ignorant land, the glitterings are so random we can't even. Glitterings have no opponents, only friends. Isn't that nice? We think it's nice. Word of advice, these sparkly balls are all about chance. So when you play them, we suggest you close your eyes and hope for the best. And no extra rules on the back there. So we have Awesome. Fear Me. At World's End, stabilize 2. Add 2 to the face values of your hand to your score. Max plus 17. Rainbow Magic. So we have 2 rainbow cards. This is really cool. Then we got those. We haven't had those in the other ones. I've been doing a lot of reflecting and refracting. You may return Rainbow Magic to your hand, seriously, after you stabilize. Then play 1 random card from your hand. Ignore restrictions and requirements. Oh yeah, that is kind of random and crazy. Bubbly, you guys are my burst friends. At World's End, draw 1 card and reveal it. If it's blue or colorless, discard 1 trait from your trait pile. Elegance, less is more. You and all your friends may discard any negative cards from your hand. Interesting. I can also point out 1 of 21, or number of 21, and glitter. Imaginative, a world within worlds. Choose a color and discard a top card of the trait deck. If you use a chosen color, you and all your friends draw 2. Yay. Feisty. It's my first day pirating, and I'm still getting into the swing of things. To play, draw 1 and reveal if it's green. All your friends increase their gene pool by 1, plus 1 gene pool. Magic Beans. Who knows what this could grow into? Draw 1. If its base value is 1, play it and repeat. Ignore actions. Mary. Stealing from the rich, and then maybe a second thing. Plus 1 for every dominant in all your friends' traits piles. Scrappy. This thing would work even better if I didn't have 2 eye patches. Draw 2. You may play neither or play both and discard Scrappy. We have pink. Together we can create a bright fuchsia. All your friends draw 1 card. Toasty. All my friends are gone, smushed between crackers and chocolate. Aww. It's kind of sad. Whimsy. Let's see what maybe might happen. I guess probably. To play, you must draw 1 card and reveal it. If it has no action, play it now. If it's a dominant card, discard it along with Whimsy. Bedazzled. Use star signs to align crystals, auras, and 1 heart chakra. Draw 1. If it's effectless, play it now. If it's glittering, repeat this action. Imperial. Only a moment. At World's End, draw and reveal 1 card. If it's purple or colorless, return Imperial to your hand. Polka Dots. I'm not sick, I'm just fabulous. Discard the top 5 cards from the trait deck. If you have any face value of 0, play them now. Yeah, so Jenny, so definitely a lot of random effects in here. Like draw, check this if it happens to be it, you get extra cards. We have Dipped. I never go out without putting a coat on. Wishful. Yeah, like a pit. Oh, it's just like a horse. Just be a horse with a cone on him. I'm a unicorn because I unicant. A unicorn because I unicant. Awesome. Sprinkles. Sugar on sugar on sugar. Draw 1 card, but if it's rare colorless, give each one of your friends a card from your hand. Alright, then our ages are Glitter Storm. Discard 1, 2, or 3 cards from your hand at random, then stabilize. Interesting. So you can choose how many you'd like to discard. It's weird. Sunshine and Tea Parties. Draw 1 card and reveal it to all your friends. And then the catastrophe is too much pink. -1 to your gene pool. There's pink up there flying around. Discard your hand and draw 4 cards Draw 4 at the start of your turn. Worlds that reveal the top card of the trait deck, plus 1 for each trait color of that pile. Very interesting. Yeah, so just as a reminder, Justin, your opponent's only friends. So all of them say friends are your opponents for the game. It's not like choose your, like, oh, I play a 4-player game, I'm going to choose who my allies are this turn. Although that could be an interesting, like, home rule to the game, is be like, when you play this card, or maybe at the beginning of the round, or do something where you can, like, choose who your friends would be. Like, hey, play a 4-player game, maybe be like, okay, I'm the red player, I have 3 red tokens, I can hand them out to other players, before the beginning of at the end of an age, you hang them out, and during the next round, those are your friends, and then that way your cards only affect those certain people, but then you can take them away if, like, maybe that person does something to betray you, or, you know, that could be an interesting mechanic as well. Alright, so our last mini expansion is the Fuselings, which have all 3 of those symbols on there. So 9 traits, 1 dominant, 2 ages, and 1 catastrophe. Fusions are a mismatch of Megalies, Deeplings, Moonlings, and Glitterlings. The fusions can help you get bigger bonuses from drop life effects and trigger new combos. So there is our 1 dominant. So I believe that means we had the dominance for, we had blue and black, or gray. So we had those 2 colors, and then in the second one, we had another green and black, so we have 2 black ones, and then a red. So we did not get a purple dominant, which is interesting. I thought that's what I thought, is maybe it's like 1 for, like, 2 in one pack, 2 in the other, so we're not going to have equal number of dominants throughout all of this. So we have remarkable, no comments. So it's got all 3 different symbols on there. So this is kind of neat, because it kind of shows which one it works with. To play a card, you must hold 3 or fewer cards, so that's kind of like the Moonlings. All your friends pass their hands to your right, not you, and stabilize. And then suppress your hands. So there's the 3 different effects there. Let's still have your numbers with F-U-Z for fuse. Alright, we have Everessence, spirited personality that rises to the top. Draw 1 and suppress it. If it's a Deepling or a Glitterling, repeat this effect. So again, this one adding in isn't going to be as effective unless you include all the others, but this could definitely be a way of just including all the other expansions. Scintillating. I was a mermaid to shine. These are dual colored cards, some of these, which are really cool as well. And we also have the symbols down here on the side to show that. Plus 1 for each Deepling and Glitterling in your trait pile, including this one. Gossamer, just because I'm insubstantial doesn't mean there's nothing to me. That's funny. Mimsy. Mulmrath, gonna outgrab. Give your opponent 1 card from your hand, suppress all other cards of that color in your hand. Swithy, knowing to gibble and gime. Plus 5 if you have a Moon or Deepling with a suppressed card under it. Fumerous, don't chortle its Vaporeal Bite. Extravagant, sometimes we all just need a day to overdo it. Give a friend all Moonlings and Glitterlings in your hand. Glamorous, glossed soul. And our last Doomling there is eccentric. Oddity loves company. All your friends stabilize to your gene pool. And then we have some ages. We have Age of Reverie. Suppress 1 random card from a card. Suppress 1 random card from hand, then pass 1 left. Or Unusual Friends. If you play a Deepling, Moonling, or Glitterling, draw 2 cards. And our last Catastrophe is going to be Isolation. -1 to the gene pool. If you hold 3 or fewer cards, suppress 1 at random, and then stabilize your hand. At the end of World's End, if you hold 3 or fewer cards, add to the space value 1 card from your hand, and then finalize your score. So cool. So basically, those are the 4 expansions that kind of work together. You can this one gives you like a little bit of bonuses for playing the other 3 together. So I'd maybe play one of each if you kind of want to just get familiar with each ability, mix them into your base game. And then you can combine maybe 2 or 3 of them. And then you can always add this one at the end. You add all 4 in there. To give you a bunch of extra variety. And then, like anytime with lots of card game expansions, if you want to make sure you're getting these cards more often, so if you're adding these 60 some cards, 70 some cards to your game, so 2, 4, 60, 70, 75 or whatever, 76, to your base deck, and you always take your base deck, shuffle it up, maybe cut it in half, shuffle these in the top half. Then that way I'll get that 167 cards, although you're not playing with all of them, because lots of them are ages, and catastrophes and stuff. But, you know, out of that 100 and like whatever number of cards you're playing, if you're playing with like 50 or 60 and these are shuffled in that top 50 or 60, you're going to have a better chance of drawing them quicker. Alright, cool. So then the last expansion is Magical Merchants. This has some brand new cards in a new full mechanic or game mode. So these do not have traits or catastrophes or ages or any of that stuff that get mixed in. They have 11 merchants and 40 trinkets. So swindlers peddling spectacular wares have set up a shop in certain quarters of Enders. The Magical Merchants expansion adds a new layer of strategy to the game of Doomlings. You can now collect points by fulfilling objectives and pocketing these trinkets. Buyer beware, these trinkets' powers might not be as useful as promised. You might want to be comfortable in playing the game before knowing how to meet these hornswogglers. Now the back there says there's a full rule book. Alright, so we have this. So we have goal. Complete objectives by pocketing as many trinkets as you can and boost your scores. Setup. The game is set up as normal, and now each of the 3 ages stacks have 1 basic age, 1 catastrophe, and 2 merchant ages. So we're going to have a bunch of new ages cards, and we're going to shuffle these merchants in here, which will say merchants at the top. You're going to shuffle 2 of them in there instead of your basic ages. And this is just so that way, so instead of having 3 basic ages and 1 catastrophe, you'll have 2 merchants. That way these are kicking off a lot more often. Now again, you can always play a little bit longer game and just add 2 to the original 4 cards. And then they're not, maybe, so it might come up, you know, basic age, then it might come up merchant, then it might be merchant, then basic age. It might give you a little bit more if you want to do something like that, so you're getting more of the basic ages yet. Definitely do that as well. Shuffle the trinkets, place them face down, create the trinket deck. After traits are dealt, each player gains 2 trinkets, they keep 1 and trash the other. The trash pile. When they trash a trinket, place it face up in the trash pile. If a trinket deck runs out, shuffle the trash pile to create a new trinket deck. It is possible to completely run out of cards of trinkets. This is fine, continue play as normal. Yeah, it's not just reshuffle the deck. Merchants. These merchants are a new type of ages that interact with trinkets. There's 11 of them. So again, if you're using 2 every time, you're going to run through them fairly quickly. Trinkets can be pocketed by any time by fulfilling its pocket objective. A trinket has a power that's activable face up at the start of the age before playing age effects. Players without a face up trinket gain 1 trinket. So if for some reason you don't have any, that might happen. And then we have some things. So pocketing. When you pocket a trinket, place it face down next to your tray pile. It cannot be trashed or taken. The points are now yours. And then just some of the effects that happen. Then play the required traits. Reveal. Show the cards you have required cards in hand. If you have this objective, you may reveal it at any time. Hand discard. Discard your required cards from your hand through effects or by stabilizing. I could like that. Trait pile. Have the required traits in a trait pile. Draw the required cards through effects or stabilizing. Trait pile removal. Completed when you required traits are removed from the trait pile for any reason. End world and scoring. At world's end, trash all face-up trinkets. Add the score of pocketed trinkets to your final score, and conflicts trinkets power take place over ages and trait effects. So the whole thing is you're getting these extra additional cards. They're going to give you extra like permanent powers. But if you want their rewards, you have to get rid of them. But then it gives you permanent rewards that can't be removed. So they're going to have a special back on there, say trinkets. So we're just going to look at one really quick. It's going to show its awesome power, which is what it is currently doing or when it lets you do. And its objective, so when you do this, then now you get 1 point. And some of these are worth a little bit higher. There are some that are worth up to 5 points. So yeah, it's a neat little, adds a kind of like almost a side game to your game, which is kind of cool. Alright, so look at our merchants here. So we have merchant, we have Kudos. Off the main market of Crackletown, a merchant showcases his newest product, explosive rock candy, not to be confused with candied rock explosives. Buy. So gain 1 trinket and then trash 1 trinket. So when this guy comes up, you can gain 1 trinket, but then you have to get rid of 1. We have another Kudos here. So it's going to have the same one. So same name guys and have the same effect. The eager merchant says to shop in the upper market. Hot pinks, socks, hats, scarves, parkas, all woven, 100% cotton candy, dry clean only. So he'll have the buy effect as well. Wandering merchant opens his ancient chest and howling winds as he does. A coincidence, he reassures. Lightning strikes a nearby tree, setting it ablaze. That always happens. The windblown merchant removes his soggy boots. Mud drips from the outsole. Stink emits from the insole. He exclaims, "New shoes, never worn." This guy's definitely a big peddler. So we have 4 copies of him who have the buy ability. We are going to get Fowler, who has exchange. You may trash 1 trinket and then gain 1. So this is interesting because the one guy lets you gain a trinket, and then now you can take, if you have 2 or you have 3, you can then you have to get rid of 1. This guy gives you the option, though, to trash 1 of yours to gain 1. So very much the same idea, except you don't get a look at what you get and then decide to maybe get rid of the new one. Here you have to get rid of 1 and then keep the new one. But at least it's more optional. A single light flickers in the dark, revealing a shadow dealer. Grinning, he remarks, "Congratulations, you are lost in the right place." And these do have their numbers on the side here, too. Fowler, again. In the mist, Fowler stands alone in his lantern. Only light you can see. He mutters nobody in particular. Pick a card, any card. In the shadowy forest, even shadier merchant whispers over and over, "Everything must go. Everything must go." And then the 4th one we have for him is, well, a salesman is on the main stage. Showcases a curious contraption. A shady dealer breathes into your ear. What I have is more interesting. Also, totally not stolen. So that's kind of cute. So you're going to get 8 of those cards. You have a good chance of getting 1 of those. We have 2 copies of Huck. How much do you have to pay me? How much do I have to pay you to buy something from me? So he has collect. Pocket a trinket, then gain a new one. Just make you get rid of 1 of your abilities, but you gain a new one to replace it. And he has a second version. Huck hands you a wrapped parcel. This is what you've been searching for. Put your fingers to his lip. He melts back into the crowd. And then we have 1 copy of Bong, who has bargain. Trash 1 trinket, then gain a trinket. You may repeat once. And again, not optional there. Along the desert road, you see many mounds of dirt. Bond sits with her wares next to a freshly dug hole. She says, "I've got an offer for you." So that's just kind of neat look. You're going to have these things, but the fact is, most of these are going to make you have to get rid of 1 and get a new one, or maybe pocket it. So these abilities aren't going to always 100% be around unless you can get multiple trinkets, because you might have to trash them or pocket them, being forced by these other cards, by the market. Alright, then the trinkets, yeah, show on the back there, the trinkets. So let's go ahead and look at them. They're coming in several different colors, kind of a rarity. So collector's tap, 1 of a million. Awesome power says, if you play a red, you may draw a card. Reveal, objective is reveal, put 1 purple in your hand. Or reveal 1 purple in your hand. Forbidden mushroom, the mycelium reach far beyond lands untold. If you play a purple draw, reveal 1 blue card in hand. Half off sandwich, the top half. Um, Negative traits cannot be placed in your trait pile. Play a face value 2 or higher. So again, this one might just end up, you might like reveal, you can choose reveal. This one, if you end up playing in one, you're going to have to go ahead and do this effect. So they're going to kind of be coming and going pretty often. Invisible painting. It took Gareth 30 years to learn how to make this in 5 minutes. Start your turn, you may play one effectless. Play one effectless. So it's going to go away pretty quick. Spyglass. Embiggening distance objects. If you play a blue, you may draw one card, reveal one green. Tiny house. It needs a little bit of work. Start your turn, you may discard one card from your hand. Play a face value 2 or higher. Treasure goggles. Make your misfortune by eliminating all distractions from sight. Warning, the wearer of these goggles will only see treasure. Start your turn, draw one card. Play a face value of 1. Unicorn horn. Oh, it kind of goes with our one unicorn guy we had earlier. A fashion choice will make everyone stop in their tracks. If you play a green, you may draw one card. Reveal one card, red card in hand. And our last of our green, which is kind of like the common, unsolvable puzzle. Everyone else seems to get it. Putting a square into a circle hole. When stabilizing to 4, stabilize to 4. Interesting. And then play an action card. Cool. These are them. We got some blue ones here. Anxiety elixir. This causes stress. Can't stress that enough. Start your turn, discard dominance from your hand. So that one's maybe not necessarily the best. Reveal 2 cards in hand. Now again, I say this might not be the best. It might work really well because you can only have 2 dominants in play. So if this forces you to discard them extra cards that you might have, then you get to draw more cards in your stabilize phase. Alright, then we have Apathy Stone. Behold, the unbelievable power of not caring. Cannot play blue. Interesting. Pay 1 color. So this is kind of one that's kind of like a hindrance, right? If you get this, you're going to want to try and get rid of it. Kind of cool. Bottled air. Break in case of emergency. Cannot play more than 1 trait on your turn. Reveal 2 blues in hand. Shoebox. There are those who believe in a shoebox provides healing properties of endless soft tissue. A shoebox. Cannot play dominance. Reveal 2 greens. Gaming hat. The more I see, the less I know. Prevent actions that you play. Play an action card. Gilded lily. Everything's better in gold. Do not draw unless stabilizing. Reveal 2 colorless in hand. Lemony lemons. More lemons than your average lemon. Do not play colorless. Objective is play 1 green. Mysterious adventuring. Emits a special light that can only be seen in the day. Do not play purple. Objective is to play a red. Omniscient ball. It sees more than... The more it sees, the more it knows. Cannot play effectless. Reveal 2 colorless in your hand. The party mask. Purchased from a faceless traveler in a really trendy coat. Cannot play drops of life. Hand discard. 1 blue or purple. A pointy stick. You can poke an eye out. Among other functions. Cannot play red. Objectives to play a purple. Sylvie bark. Smuggled from the living library. Prevents actions you play. Reveal 2 purples in hand. Tome of Common Knowledge, a rare find. Oh, that's hilarious. Cannot play green. Play 1 blue. I read what it says on there. If it's hot, you will get burned. And other... something things. That's funny. It's my favorite card. Alright, our last blue one. So I'm going to call her Uncommon Rarity for trinkets. World End Insurance. You can't afford not to have this. At World's End, instead of losing this item, pocket it. Play 2 traits on 1 turn. Cool. So this guy had a little bit some negative stuff, but they're getting worse some stuff. We have our pink, which I'm going to call our rare, Glass Hammer. Great for hammering a nail once. Cannot play traits with an action. Hand discard 1 red or green. Glittering pouch, celebrate your friends, or take revenge on your enemies. Cannot play blue. Trait pile, have 3 greens. Again, some of these are negative effects, but again, you're going to be forced to get them. But they're going to give you, if you can get rid of them or pocket them, they're going to give you a decent number of extra points. Harmonic Seashell. If you listen close, you can hear the inside of a seashell. Cannot play blue. Trait pile 3 colorless. I love these comments. Perpetual motion machine. Batteries not included. Ha, that's funny. Cannot play colorless. Trait pile 3 reds. Terror root. When severed from the wandering willow, terror root burrows through the soil in search of a new host. Cannot play green. Trait pile have 3 blues. The Tome of Hidden Knowledge, information redacted. Cannot play red. Trait pile 3 purples. Unlabeled vial. It's either a poison or the antidote. Too bad the other one's already sold. Cannot play traits. Opponent's turn. Trait pile 2 dominance. Ooh, that could be a hard one to get rid of. And unusual tooth. Don't let the owner of this Nasher find you. When stabilizing, stabilize to 4. Play 1 negative. Alright, so that was our legendary. I don't remember what all the rarities were for the cards. So I think up next is legendary. I think was the next one is common, uncommon, rare, legendary, and I think scarce is the last one. So Crackle Ore. Crackle Towns, mediumist, export. Not even rare, it's just mediumist. When stabilizing, stabilize to 4. Draw 2. When you draw 2 on your turn, you get pocketed. Foolish Gold, a special kind of gold. Trust me, can't play dominance. Hand discard 1 dominant. These are worth 4 points though. Galaxy in a jar, fragile, do not shake. Cannot play face value of 1. Reveal 2 dominance in hand. Muffins, never ever listen to this whimsical tale. Cannot play face value of 3 or higher. Trait pile 2 negatives. TOM4. What is Tom for? For telling jokes, okay? Your opponent may draw 1 at the start of your turn, if they notice. Reveal 3 different colors in your hand. And the last one in this one is Weird Map. Head Swarthweast. Spot marks the X. Start your turn. Discard 1 card from your hand. Trait pile 4 of the same color. And then in the scarce red color, we have 3 more cards. Izzy, she's been trying to find a missing piece of herself for a while. Perhaps you can help. Cannot play colorless. Reveal 4 different colors in hand, which is worth 5 points. Nice. Philosopher's Tea. Some think it unlocks nothing. Cannot play more than 1 trait on your turn. Trait pile 2 of each color. And then the final card we have is Shadeberry. Warning, consuming this berry grants strange powers and sometimes gas. You may discard 1 dominant in your trait with your trait effects. Trait power removable 1 dominant. Cool. It's 51 there, so a decent number of those traits, which again, they're kind of a neat little extra mechanic to the game. With the merchant ability, which merchant cards are going to let you keep swapping and maining out, and getting more of them replaced. Otherwise, even if you complete one at the end of every turn you get, so even if you don't want to use the merchant cards, you can still use all the trinkets. It just means you start with 1 in play. If you complete it, then you get another one. And there's so every time you get rid of 1, just at the end of your turn, you'll just end up getting another one. Which is another way to go. The merchant just kind of forces you to have to trade some of them out, so that way you might lose or gain abilities you want or not get those points. You might have been saving up to do a certain thing. Oh, I can get this 4.1 if I have three blue cards in my traits, but then they might force you to discard it. yes, it's kind of a definitely interesting new thing. Alright, so that is what we have for Imaginary Ends. So four little expansions, three separate ones, one that kind of mixes them, and then one big new expansion, which is a completely separate side thing to the game, doesn't add into the main thing, but gives you an extra little objective to get. So again, yeah, you can mix and match these with any other sets, play one of these, play all five of them together, add them with the original expansion, add them with the Overlush. I think someone said that if you had one copy of every card from Overlush, plus a couple of the promos and the base set, you had over 300 cards. If this adds another 100, or adds another like 60 some from just the regular traits and stuff like that, so you're gonna have like, you would probably start getting close to like a 400 card deck. And you can see why adding everything could be very, very hard. Like, you definitely do it. Just mix all your cards together, draw them. Again, though, the more and more cards you add, you might end up getting a lot more of this. Or some of the cards that are asking for different stuff. Like some of these, like say, like, oh, if you have a Moonleaning play, or if you have, you find a Glimmer, right? If also you have these shuffled into a 300-400 card deck, you're gonna have a very hard chance of finding them. Makes those abilities a little less. Some things like again, like Tinies, or some of the other cards, like I can't remember the name, I want to call them Sprouts, but the cards that you had that actually had multiple copies of each, because you've got more like spores and stuff for having the same name card. They're going to be a lot harder to find when you mix everything together. But in the end, it is ultimately your game. Play how you want. Add, subtract what you like. Again, there's cards you don't like. Take them out of the game. Whether it's traits, or whether it's catastrophes, whether it's ages. However it works for you. But yeah. The only downside to this is it just comes in this little tray box, which, so all the cards are just going to sit in there. In the end, so yeah, we can kind of set all these in there, but they kind of go right next to each other. I'm going to drop the rest in there. So yeah, when you put them in the little tray like this, there's no room if you sleeve them. They kind of catch onto this, so great for selling, but not great for putting them in there. Are they going to fit into a core box? Nope. Because this is my core box with all the base expansions. And that is full, plus I have a bunch of foil, and then I have the Overlush set, which is, I opened up that box, and that dumped out a bunch already, because that's already filled past the brim as well, once I had all those. So, unless maybe you had like the big collector box from the original Kickstarter, you're going to need new storage to hold all of this stuff together. Especially, even with these, if you want them sleeved, you're going to have another box. So just something to point out. Alright, that's what we have for Doomlings. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if there's other interesting games that you'd like to see. See you guys later. Bye.